On a Tuesday in March, hundreds of people attended a public roundtable session at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre with concerns about plans for a futuristic development called Sidewalk Toronto. Among the concerned is Jathan Sadowski, a postdoctoral research fellow in smart cities at the University of Sydney in Australia, who says, Google isn't going to be creating these urban innovations for the public good or the common welfare. They'll be doing things as we should expect them to that will benefit their own interests as a private company, as one of the most profitable, most wealthy companies in the world, end quote. You see, Sidewalk Toronto will be the test bed for Google's sister company, Sidewalk Labs. But before we go over Sidewalk Labs and why people have concerns, let's quickly touch on the concept of smart or futuristic cities. We are starting to see plans for futuristic cities around the world built around technology. There's the plans for NEOM, the $500 billion future megacity in Saudi Arabia, along with Bill Gates, who is investing $80 million in a smart city in Arizona. What's exciting about these projects is that they will give us a chance to see what a 21st century city looks like. Most things in our lives have advanced rapidly. Cars have drastically changed since I was a kid in the 80s and 90s, incorporating features such as backup cameras that are becoming commonplace. Our televisions and computers are incredible today. Hell, I've upgraded my phone 3 times in the past 10 years. But when we drive around our neighborhoods, it's almost as if time stands still. We live in cities built over a period of hundreds of years or more with old infrastructure, architecture, and technology. So these futuristic cities like NEOM will be blank canvases that will be designed and built with the latest advancements. And this brings us back to Sidewalk Labs, who has their own vision for their blank canvas. Sidewalk Labs is a subsidiary company of Alphabet, founded in 2015 as a spin-off from Google with the goal to improve city life for everyone by developing and incubating urban technologies to address issues like cost of living, efficient transportation, and energy use. And they call this building cities from the internet up. Sidewalk looked throughout North America, Western Europe, and Australia to choose the location of their first project, and they ended up choosing Toronto, not the whole city, but the eastern waterfront, which is largely barren and underutilized, consisting of more than 325 hectares of land. Quick summary of Toronto. Interestingly, it is the most diverse city in the world. Almost half of its population are foreign-born, with no single nationality or culture dominating the immigrant population. Here's a map of the city's diversity, each color representing a different ethnic group. Toronto's diversity is a big part of Alphabet's CEO Larry Page and Sidewalk Labs' decision to pick the city, along with its booming tech sector, and more importantly, the 3 levels of government that support their project. The project will have 2 phases. Phase 1 will start with a 5-hectare neighborhood on the waterfront called Quayside and will house around 5,000 residents, and Phase 2 will be expanding to the rest of the waterfront and house tens of thousands of residents. So Quayside will be the pilot program for Sidewalk Labs' urban innovation platform, and according to their vision, it will feel like no other neighborhood in the world. There are 2 main components of Sidewalk Labs' platform, the physical layer and the digital layer. Starting with the physical layer, it is broken up into 4 parts. The first is buildings. Sidewalk Labs' urban innovation platform involves a system of flexible use spaces that can evolve over time, allowing a community a greater control of their environment. The buildings will be able to shift rapidly between purposes based on user needs. Sidewalk approach to constructing the buildings will be kind of like how cars are built, through a vertically integrated process spanning the full product lifecycle from design to delivery. And buildings will be based on modern modular methods. Additionally, they will create a comprehensive parts library and establish a construction system that has full interoperability. In other words, all of the parts will be able to work with one another regardless of scale. And there will be a variety of designs such as flexible street-level shops, reconfigurable workspaces that can be shared by multiple organizations and be resized on demand, and apartments based on modular designs that can grow as the family grows. So the building system centers around loft structures that consist of a strong skeletal structure that can accommodate a variety of shapes, floor plans, and styles. Within the loft structure, there are 2 concepts: the core loft and the next-gen bazaar. The core loft concept is geared towards loft structures that will change uses over periods of months or years based on the neighborhood's needs. For example, a loft structure with a single use as a parking garage would expand over time as the demand grows, but as public transit improves and car ownership declines, the structure incrementally changes into shops, offices, or apartments. And then there's the next-gen bazaar concept that is a retail-oriented variation that allows spaces to change uses almost daily. Examples of the uses would be startup companies needing office space while they get their business off the ground, or farmers markets, or pop-up establishments that sell goods or services on a seasonal basis. Okay, moving on, the second part of the physical layer is mobility. With Sidewalk Labs' platform, streets will be designed not around cars but around people, around pedestrians and cyclists. It relies heavily on autonomous vehicles and the absence of human drivers. Even more, some areas of Quayside will prohibit non-emergency vehicles altogether. And traveling longer distances, residents will be able to travel on a self-driving transit shuttle or have the option to travel on a taxi bot system, allowing door-to-door autonomous transportation. But busier routes will be serviced by multi-passenger self-driving vans or vanbots. And the baseline fleet of the taxi bot system will be provided by Sidewalk's sibling company Waymo, but Sidewalk welcomes external on-demand transportation companies to offer their autonomous vehicles for the taxi bot system as well, with the idea that competition will improve the user experience. So with traffic being mostly automated in Sidewalk's urban innovation platform, cars will travel precisely, efficiently, and in harmony with the environment, allowing streets to be narrow, and land once used for parking and road separation will now be used for walkways and parks, creating an overall safer, welcoming, freer, and accessible environment. Another impact of ride-sharing will be far less congestion and emissions in urban areas. Take a comparable part of the Greater Toronto Area that has the same population density that Sidewalk envisions for their eastern waterfront would have over 37,000 privately owned vehicles, 59 transit buses, and 8 streetcars. Under Sidewalk's urban innovation platform, the same area would have just around 1,400 shared taxi bots and over 450 van bots. Alright, so now let's talk about the third part of the physical layer, the public realm. Sidewalk's plan for public spaces centers around the pedestrian, inspired by public spaces in old cities designed in times before the automobile, such as Italian hilltown markets, rather than public spaces today that are separated from the neighborhoods bordered by streets and parking lots. Here is a basic layout of a neighborhood today with public or common spaces in yellow. Sidewalk's plan for a layout is on the right, with free-flowing common spaces embedded throughout the neighborhood, laced with heated pedestrian and bike paths that melt snow in the winter. So the public realm will be free-flowing, dotted with parks, amenities, flexible pavilions, reservable outdoor spaces holding performances and exhibitions, and customizable stalls to hold an untold variety of pop-up shops, with the idea of bringing home, work, and play closer together. And finally, the fourth part of the physical layer is infrastructure. Sidewalk's urban innovation platform involves infrastructure that is mostly underground, centered around a system of utility channels that accommodates all networked utilities such as electrical wires, telecom conduits, water, and heating pipes. And these utility channels will also include robot lanes where robots will make deliveries and transport waste, traveling between building basements underneath walkable streets. These robot lanes will free streets from garbage and delivery trucks. Okay, so that's the physical layer. Now let's talk about the digital layer, which is the part that has people concerned about privacy and possible commercialization of data. The idea behind the digital layer is similar to an operating system for a city, providing a single unified source of information about what's going on. Like an operating system, third-party software can run on the digital layer that consists of 4 components: Sense, Map, Account, and Model. With Sense, Sidewalk will deploy a wired and wireless network with built-in sensor technology with quick connect mounts that will be installed throughout the neighborhood that provides a stable platform, electrical power, and network connectivity, allowing for ubiquitous connectivity and sensing. The sensors throughout the neighborhood will measure air quality, noise level, the flow of vehicles, bicyclists, and pedestrians, along with hyperlocal weather, among other metrics. Alright, from here we go on to the map component, which collects location-based information from a variety of sources such as buildings, resources in the public realm, and infrastructure. Think of Google Maps on steroids. The Maps component records all parts of the public realm in real time down to the smallest sensor throughout the neighborhood. Residents will know the location of every building, road, park bench, even things that move such as vehicles, delivery robots, and drones. Okay, so the next component is Account, which is a secure, personalized portal that residents can access public and private services. With the Account component, residents can temporarily allow people in their homes such as maintenance workers, or the fire department is given access to buildings when a fire alarm is triggered. And finally, the Model component, which goes hand in hand with the Sense component. You see, the data collected from the Sense component will be analyzed so that city leaders and other stakeholders can see whether there are areas in the neighborhood that needs improvement, along with building predictive models. And as the Model component is used, the accuracy and representations of people, traffic, and behavior will improve, allowing the city to identify issues, find root causes, and solutions. Okay, so that's the basic overview of the digital layer. Now let's go back to the roundtable session at the Metro Toronto Convention Center back in March. Rit Agarwala, Sidewalk's head of urban systems, responded to the crowd's privacy concerns, saying that privacy is a key value for the project. He said, "What matters in a city is whether people feel comfortable, whether people feel respected, whether people feel a sense of ownership in this place." End quote. He said that Sidewalk pledges that they will not be using or selling personal information for advertising purposes. So that is an overview of Sidewalk Lab's vision, incredibly innovative and controversial, cities literally connected to the internet, sensing and analyzing your every move. Alright, that's all I have for now. I hope you enjoyed your journey. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I am Neoscribe, and I'll see you on the next journey. Hey guys, this was another interesting topic to cover, and I look forward to see Sidewalk Toronto develop over the years. We are bound to see computing and the internet bleed into the physical world in the years to come. How drastic and fast that merger will be is tough to say. I personally welcome urban innovation, but I don't want my every action tracked, measured, and modeled. That being said, I wonder if Sidewalk will be able to implement all these radical ideas of their vision. Anyways, there was so much information to cover on Sidewalk Labs. The proposal was 196 pages, and I had to cram it all in one video. So there was so much that I didn't cover. So if you want to learn more about Sidewalk's vision, you can find a link to the proposal in the description. It is the first link in the sources section. Alright, now I'd like to thank Collegiate Independent Study and Cool as Cats for pledging their support on Patreon. You guys are awesome. And if you connect with my content and want to support this channel, you can check out my Patreon page in the description. You can pledge as little as $1 a month. Every bit helps. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you next time.